Last month, I opened my banking app, expecting maybe $200 gone on random stuff. The actual number was $847. Same income, same month, no vacation, no emergency, no single big purchase I could point to, just gone. And the part that genuinely scared me wasn't the number, it was that I had almost zero memory of most of it. Like the money just evaporated. I spent the next 3 weeks going down a rabbit hole of neuroscience research, trying to figure out how that was even possible. And what I found changed how I think about money completely. Because this isn't a willpower problem, it's not a budgeting problem, it's a biology problem. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand the exact mechanism your phone uses to shut off your brain's natural spending alarm, and the one habit that cut my own spending almost in half without changing my lifestyle at all. Stay with me, because the fix is not what you think. Before I show you the solution, you need to understand what's actually being taken from you. Go back 50 years. When you handed someone a $20 bill, something real happened inside your brain. MRI studies show that the insula cortex, the same region that processes actual physical pain, fires during cash transactions, not metaphorical discomfort, a genuine neurological pain response. Researchers at Carnegie Mellon called this the pain of paying, and it's not a bug in your biology, it's a feature. That pain was your brain's natural brake system. The more a purchase hurt, the more likely you were to pause, reconsider, and either choose something cheaper or walk away entirely. And while you were counting out those bills, something else was happening. Behavioral economists call it the tax of tangibility. Your hands were engaged, your eyes were watching the stack get smaller. You were running mental math in real time. Touch, observe, calculate. That sequence forced your brain to register the transaction as a significant event. The money became real in a way that built a durable memory. Ask someone who paid for groceries in cash last Tuesday what they spent, they'll probably remember. Ask someone who tapped their phone and you get a shrug, maybe a rough guess. Now, here's where modern payments quietly broke something fundamental in your financial brain. When you tap your phone, the insula stays silent. No pain signal, no friction, no counting. The transaction is over in under a second. A single gesture your brain processes roughly the same way it processes opening a door. It barely registers as an event at all. And the finance and tech industry didn't stumble onto this by accident. They built for it on purpose. Because your hesitation, your financial pain response, was costing them conversions, so they engineered it away and called it convenience. Here's what I need you to actually sit with for a second. The frictionless experience they've been marketing to you is, at the neurological level, a system specifically designed to prevent your brain from sounding the alarm when money leaves your account. Every one-click purchase, every saved card, every biometric tap, each one strips away the sensory input your brain needs to register that something real just happened. And when your brain can't register the event properly, it can't form the memory properly either. This is what researchers call the data ghost effect. The transaction occurred, your brain just filed it under generic activity instead of significant financial event. It happened, you simply won't remember it. And this isn't a small effect. Studies on consumer spending show that digital payment users underestimate their monthly expenses by an average of 30% compared to cash users, not 5%, 30%. If you're spending $3,000 a month, your brain thinks you spent $2,100. That $900 gap, that's the invisible drain most people can never locate, no matter how carefully they feel like they're being. That's the math behind why you're doing everything right and still not getting ahead. Now here's the part that made me genuinely angry when I found it. Pull up any major bank app or digital wallet right now and pay attention to what happens after you make a purchase. There's a haptic pulse, a soft animation, a little check mark, maybe confetti. These are not accidental. They are deliberate psychological architecture. The haptic feedback mimics reward, not loss. The animation is modeled on the same patterns mobile game designers use to signal a win. Your brain, which was supposed to feel, I just lost money, instead receives a microdose of something good just happened.
They took your brain's alarm system and rewired it to ring as a celebration. And then they stacked abstraction on top of that. Your actual currency wrapped inside Apple Pay, sitting inside your bank account, linked to a paycheck you received 2 weeks ago. By the time you tap, you're not thinking about hours of your life you traded for that money. You're tapping a number on a screen. That $14 subscription for the app you never open, that's not 45 minutes of your working life. It's just a number that blinks past while you're scrolling. And here's what all of that invisible friction removal does to you over time. It creates chronic financial cognitive fatigue. Every day you're trying to track numbers you can't feel, reconcile spending you don't remember, and monitor accounts that give you zero sensory feedback on your actual balance. That's exhausting in a way you don't consciously notice. And when cognitive fuel runs low, willpower collapses. The person who's been careful all week is exactly the person who makes the impulsive $200 purchase on Friday night, not because they're weak, but because their mental accounting system is simply out of gas. The system isn't just making individual purchases easier to forget, it's creating the exact conditions for the next impulse buy. So here's how you fight back. And I want to be clear, none of this requires going back to cash or giving up your credit card points. The first thing is what researchers call artificial friction. The goal is to reintroduce a sensory pause without changing how you live. The most effective version? Delete your stored payment credentials from your highest spend apps, Amazon, DoorDash, whatever quietly drains you most. Force yourself to manually enter the card number for anything over your personal threshold, maybe $30, maybe $50. Here's why this works. The 30 to 60 seconds it takes to find your card and type the number is enough time for your prefrontal cortex to re-engage and actually evaluate the purchase. You're rebuilding the friction the app deliberately removed. In the first month, I did this on just 2 apps. My spending in those categories dropped significantly, not because I was trying harder, but because I was thinking at all. The second thing sounds almost too simple. Set instant transaction notifications on your bank account. But here's the specific piece that makes it actually work. The moment the notification comes through, read the amount out loud. Say it. I know that sounds ridiculous. Do it anyway. Speaking a number activates a different neural pathway than reading it silently, and it forces the verbal acknowledgement your brain uses to form episodic memories. You're artificially recreating the tax of tangibility in digital form. This one habit alone measurably reduced unplanned spending for people in behavioral studies within the first month.
The third thing is a weekly ghost audit. Every Sunday, pull up last week's transactions and physically write, pen on paper, not typed, your total in each spending category. Not to analyze, not to set limits, just to write the numbers by hand. The act of handwriting engages the same motor and sensory systems that handling cash engages. You're giving your brain a physical record it can process as a real event. People who do this consistently report a shift in how money feels during the week. Not restricted, just visible. The spending stops being invisible. The fourth thing is what I call the labor conversion rule. Before any discretionary purchase over $25, convert it to time. Not roughly, exactly. If you make $22 an hour and you're about to spend $66, that's 3 hours. Then name those hours. That's Tuesday morning. When you collapse the abstraction layer between currency and the actual hours of your life it represents, your brain's loss aversion system finally gets the signal it was built to receive. Sometimes the purchase still makes perfect sense, but you make it as a real decision instead of a reflex. The fifth thing is a quarterly subscription autopsy. Pull every recurring charge from the past 90 days and ask yourself one question for each one. Not, am I using this enough? But, if this charged me today and I had to manually reauthorize it, would I? The auto-renewal mechanism exists specifically because inaction feels neutral. It isn't. Letting a charge recur is a decision. Start treating it like one. Here's where I want to bring this back to where we started. That $847 month
After 6 weeks of artificial friction and weekly ghost audits, I ran the same month again. $431. Same income, same lifestyle. I didn't restrict myself. I didn't try harder. I didn't track obsessively. I just reintroduced enough friction that my brain could register what was happening in real time. The money stopped being invisible, and that was enough. Here's what I actually want you to take away from this. You are not an impulsive person who lacks self-control. You are a person whose biological spending alarm was built for a world that no longer exists, and then deliberately disabled by systems engineered to profit from that blind spot. That's not a character flaw, that's a design problem. And design problems have design solutions. This week, pick one app, just one. Delete the stored card. Run it for 30 days. Watch what happens to your spending in that one category. The goal isn't discipline, it's a pause. And that pause is all your biology needs to start doing what it was always designed to do. The money was never invisible. The system just made sure you couldn't see it. Now you can.